Hello friends, I am Saket. I am into education and consulting profession. I help people in learning new skills so that they can grow in their professional career. And today I am talking about Scaled Agile Framework. So what I did is that I looked into scaleagileframework.com and found a nice presentation which gives a good overview of SAFe 5.0. So I thought of going through this particular presentation and sharing my ideas how I look at SAFe 5.0. So let me start the presentation. So we are looking at introducing SAFe 5.0. As I said, you can find this presentation at scaleagileframework.com in the resource section. It's your operating system, SAFe 5.0, for your business agility. Now, in my view, this particular presentation explores why SAFe 5.0 and what it contains. It does not give that much information on how it works. For that, you need to look into other resources for exploring exactly the mechanics of doing things in SAFe. So let's see what it is in down. Now, the idea behind SAFe 5.0, or I would say the reason behind SAFe 5.0 is that creator of this framework believes the softwares and large solutions or a capacity to build a large solutions will provide a distinguished competitive advantage in the future coming time. And the organization which will grow in the coming time, in coming years, are the one who has a capacity to develop a software at a large scale. And this particular content is coming from Carlotta Praise, and she talked about 5 technological revolution and maybe a 6th one which is also emerging. And in her study, or in her opinion, the way she looked at various patterns in technological revolution, she sees that there is a time where technology or a type of things matures, and they reach to a turning point where there is a chaos and sometimes recession and competition. And after that, you have a settlement or a golden period. They call it development period. So the way this particular body of knowledge, which is presented by Carlotta, looks at is that there was an industrial revolution, and then there was age of steam and railways, and there was age of steel or engineerings, heavy engineerings, and then we talk about automobile, which was just before this information technology, oil, mass production, plastic, and everything, and finally you are in the age of software, internet, digital, and .com, that kind of stuff. So based on this pattern, looks like that we are reaching to a turning point in this particular age of software and digital. And that is why the SAFe 5.0 see as a opportunity as well as solving a problem for those organization who wants to pass through this turning point and reach to a stage which is a golden age of IT or a software solution. So this is like the reason we are looking at business agility now, not just focusing on developing software. So this particular way of looking at things talks about dividing the overall revolution in installation period, where the new things comes up, new startup bubbles comes up and people try to do something great, and then turning point where existing business either master the new technology or decline or get evaporated. So it's like a competition and consolidation phase. And then you have a deployment period where you start producing things at a little higher scale, and you create a new technological benefits, or whatever the technology or whatever the revolution was focusing on, you reach to a deployment period. Now again, personally, it's a pattern which is making many thought leaders to come up with guidance which can help the organization sustaining and growing in the future. And that is where the SAFe 5.0 is focusing on, that how do I make organization agile enough so that they survive and they become the leading player when the software and solution reaches to a deployment period. So now, are we at a turning point? There are data, there are information which makes us believe that yes, nowadays software related companies, or the companies which are doing business related to software, are the one which are leading as far as revenue or market cap is concerned. And even if those companies and products where the software is not looking that much explicitly coming out, but inside the car, a lot of things are happening uh, 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 with the help of software. So software is everywhere, and all successful businesses are software business. So that's the prime foundation which SAFe 5.0 is looking at, that okay, how can we help you in building the overall solutions which achieve you a business agility. So here the final statement I'm picking up from Mick Kirsten, it talks about the problem is not that with our organization realizes that they need to transform. The problem is that organizations are using managerial framework infrastructure from their past revolution to manage the business in this one in. Okay, a lot of verbose. In a simple way, if I have designed my organization for an automobile or oil and gas industrial revolution, I created the hierarchies and I created a mass production muscle, which was which was helping me to develop things very efficiently at a scale. And that is why my organization survived and other small player got evaporated. So many organizations have seen the past revolution organization succeeding and growing. But now the problem is we are in a different wave. And when we are in a different wave, if we use the previous wave organization structures and policies and way of doing things, we may not survive and we may not reach to a deployment period of this particular age. So this particular environment, which is new, which is dynamic, requires new way of handling things. And that's what I take from this particular body or a quote. Now, we the SAFe 5.0 is quite influenced by John Cotter's Accelerate book, and it takes this argument forward that we need a different kind of an organization DNA so that it survives and it grows in the upcoming dynamic environment. Now, the idea here, which is coming in a clear form, is that world is now changing at a rate at which the basic system structure and culture built over the past century cannot keep up. So you can't keep running your, say, uh, 20-year-old or a 50-year-old management structure which was based on another 100-year management theories, or some of the organization might be taking inspiration from the previous generation successful organization, and things are changing very very frequently. So we can't uh, uh, achieve agility at an organization level by keeping old structures and policies and culture. So that's I think is quite obvious. Whoever runs business may already be facing this problem, that you design the structure, system, business model, and you put people around that, and by the time it starts working, you realize that whole model is transformed. It got disrupted. Now, when the model is disrupted, you can't keep doing what you have been doing some time ago. And I see the business models are so dynamic nowadays. Even running something for more than a year is a challenge, especially if you are not in a very stable business. So the idea, which is again an extending from Accelerate book, is that at when the new organization starts operating, they usually see the customer and they build the whole network to serve the customer. So it's like, what do you see as a network? You can see the bigger circle in between is more like an entrepreneur who is initiating it, and he might work with 2 3 key people, and those key people work with others, and it's more like a collection of these guys talk to each other and produce something. And but the thing is that as you start growing, and you also need to scale, so this connected and a network of people start moving towards a hierarchical structure where information is more streamlined. There are roles and responsibility, and the hierarchy or a structure and procedures provide stability in execution. But it may be the case where you may realize that your network structure is started collapsing and everything is getting merged into hierarchy. And when that happens, the speed of response, or you can say connectedness to the customer starts going down. Now your entrepreneur network, if you look at the entrepreneur network here, this particular network was built where the customer was directly contacted by the senior people, whoever are the key guys. But when you talk in a hierarchy, maybe the person who is making a lot of decisions related to the business is 3 4 levels behind the customer. Maybe these people are the only one who is interacting with the customer, and as you reach to this stage, this particular group may have very less idea or clue about what really customer need. So the whole thing is that in the process of making scalable business, you start moving away from your customer space. So this is something will become a situation where you can face a problem. So what do we do? Now we move. Uh, so the solution is not like let's scrap the hierarchy, yeah, and make the whole thing as a network again. So it's more like it's not about removing it, but reintroducing the network system as a second system. So, it's like this. The Kotter talks about dual operating system, and there are other body of knowledges also which talks about similar concept in a different frame. Which I see that it's like that you need an entrepreneur network which is more connected and which is more innovation focused, and you are looking at how do I solve the customer's evolving problem, and then you need a sustenance and execution network or a structure. Maybe it could be a hierarchy structure which provide stability for the existing operations. So you need to come up with a mechanics or an organization design which can support innovation as well as which can support consistent delivery of current services. So that's the whole part of this accelerate idea. Now, when we talk about this dual operating system, so you have a speed of innovation of a network which interact with the hierarchy, and the hierarchical network system is designed for efficiency and stability. So this is like a dual networking system. Now, how this thing links with the safe. Now, the scaled agile looks at that they are the safe is your entrepreneurs or network operating system, which will interact with your hierarchical functional system, which is providing an operational stability. So this entrepreneur network system is primarily based around value stream, which is like how do you, it is primarily focusing on customer and focusing on what customer need and how can we keep delivering the customer needs or a changing customer need at a faster pace. So that's the whole focus of this value stream network, and the functional hierarchy primarily focuses on providing stability of the operation. Now, so this is how the SAFe 5.0, your operating system for business agility, which is available for details at scaledagileparamework.com, and we are exploring its uh, competencies, which gives us more insight about okay how this particular thing, what it is, and how it can help us in achieving business agility. So SAFe 5.0 brings the focus back to what it takes to bring great solution to the marketplace network, and we are talking about achieving a state something called business agility, and there are various understanding of business agility. The way SAFe looks at business agility is that the entire organization, not just your development team, is engaged in continually and proactively delivering innovation business and faster than your competitor. So it's more like it's not only your development team is agile, it's your whole organization, all connected system in the organization are ready to deliver for a changing customer requirements. Yeah, that's what we are looking at business agility. Now, so the idea here is the SAFe 5.0 will provide you a competitive advantage, or the implementing SAFe 5.0 in an enterprise can give you capability to survive or reach to a golden age, which is like a deployment period for software and digital space. Okay, so little bit deep dive into business agility and understanding the competencies which helps us in achieving business agility. Now, business agility requires technical and business level commitment to product and the value stream thinking. So that's the top level thinking. And it requires that everyone involved in delivering business solutions use lean and agile practices. So everybody is ready to inspect and adapt. Everybody is looking at system level rather than only focusing on their part of thing. So this is something is uh, 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 just a second. I need to check this thing. Okay, yeah, it was just a glitch. I reshare. So this is the whole thing which we are saying that, okay, this is how we achieve the business agility. Let's get into the details and we get more information about it. So what is SAFe? So, so words leading framework for business agility, and it's a collection of integrated practices, knowledge base, principles which are built on lean, agile, and DevOps idea. So it's like a safe for lean enterprise is a knowledge base of proven integrated practices and principles and practices and competency for lean, agile, and DevOps. And you can find more details about it at scaleagileparamework.com. So what do? We explore these competency more in detail so we get little insight on what it is. Now, before going that, there are good amount of case studies. You can check at scaleagile.com/case studies and find out how the Scaled Agile is contributing organizations in improving their business agility. So there are enough references, you can get in details, and these are insightful case studies. So I go forward and start talking about the 7 core competencies of business agility. It's like this. The way I see it is that, okay, I need to achieve business agility. How do I do that? And the way I see this competency is, it is like that if you work on these 7 areas, you achieve business agility. So it's like this. You cannot achieve business agility directly, but you do work in various dimensions, various areas, various competencies. And when these competencies come together, your organization becomes are ready to inspect and adapt for the changing business needs. And we understand these 7 competencies, we work on them in an integrated fashion, that's achieve business agility. Now, these all 7 practices should always keep customer in center. So it's more about why we exist. So that mindset is needed. So the non so business agility way of looking at things, that why we exist is something like we exist to earn money. Yeah, that could be a one way of looking at thing. Or a company exists to provide return on investment to the stakeholder. But the successful organizations which are moving towards business agility space, they make their purpose of existence to solve customer problem, not to solve stakeholder problem. That whatever we do, whatever we think, what we always think of, how do we progressively increase our response time, our effectiveness to solve our customer problem? How can we even solve the customer unmet needs? So it's all around customer centricness. So there are these 7 competencies, and the customer centricness is the center. So let's look at the lean agile leadership. So the idea here is uh, there has been a conversation around leader versus managers and all those things. So the idea here in simple is, as a leadership of an organization, they have a responsibility to create an environment so that business agility can grow. Now, it won't grow on its own. You need to do something, and leaders has a bigger influence on the policies and strategies and system of that particular organization. And if they can see it through, and if they can promote the culture of failing fast, if they can create a culture of self-organizing team which is taking initiative rather than afraid team, who find difficult to commit or say anything. Yeah. So if you create a suffocated and afraid team who find difficult to say anything and hope that they will achieve business agility, it may not work because they play too safe. So as a leader, I need the organization leadership need to create an environment so that adaption, success, and ongoing improvement of lean agile development and competencies, which can lead to a business agility. So if just a technical thing that these competencies are further divided into dimensions, and in case of safe, the way they present their 7 competency is each competency has 3 dimensions. So in this particular conversation, I'm not getting into the details of these dimensions, but if you find them interesting, just go to scaleagileparametric.com, click on a particular leadership, and you will get the competencies. So this particular thing, the lean agile leadership, there are 3 competencies which makes this 3 dimensions which supports this particular competency: mindset and principles, leading by example, and leading the change. So the leadership should do work on all 3 dimension. But at a summary level, we can say that leaders are the one who drive and sustain organization changes. They are the one who empowers teams to achieve what the teams can achieve. They are the one who promotes experimentation, who promotes growth mindset. So this is the thing which leaders has to do. Now some content around mindset. So so when we have a success, especially when you achieve success in something and the organization might be making decent profit in something, you start limiting your thought to maintain the current success. And many time you the organization may also start promoting that don't do anything else because we are getting success here, don't disturb this whole system. But the risk associated with it is that uh, if you don't disturb your system, but environment is not listening to you, environment is getting disturbed each and every day. So it's up to you, you remain in isolation or you remain open and keep exploring as the environment is exploring. So the idea of a growth mindset is that as a leader, first I need to see what is changing, and am I willing to embrace the new changes and things happening around me. And once I look at me, then am I creating an environment for my, especially I'm talking about the network system. That's an important thing. It's not about the efficiency system. Efficiency system may have more constraints defined. They are there to just deliver things as they have been told, in many cases. But whereas the network system is primarily is designed to keep the entrepreneur spirit alive. So that particular system should have more and more growth mindset, and that's what the leadership take an ownership of creating it. Now they emphasize on creating values and principle. Now you may wonder, yeah, what are these values and principle? Why don't leader tell me what to do? See, the idea here is uh, uh, the leadership influences the whole organization together, and each section, even if the hierarchical structure will have their way of doing things, their way of interpreting things, but there are some foundational ideas which can be cultivated across. So the idea of leadership emphasizing on value is that, so that at a middle management level or team level or whatever the way your organization is designed, uh, 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 they can find out what they should do to comply to those values, so they can find out their own action, and leader promotes the value. So it's a nice way of looking at safe, which they call it house of lean. And the idea is that whatever we are doing is all about generating value for the customers, stakeholders around. And it's the whole thing is the foundational part is a leadership. So leadership creates, I would say leadership creates an environment where this value delivery can happen, and that's why they are in foundation. I'm creating an environment so that the teams can deliver something. And then they promote a culture of respecting people, and the culture of the current organization or current way of working thing wherever you are. They focus on flow, so rather than doing a big thing. The idea of flow is that you have continuous delivery of things, continuous innovation, and keep improving things. Whatever you are doing, there is always a scope of improvement. So as a leadership, why the values are coming as a leadership? Because leadership is the key I think group which promotes these values across the organization, and implementation of these values will differ as per my business context. So when we were talking about values, there are other set of values which are coming from Agile Manifesto, which is again the leadership promotes the individual and interaction, working software, customer collaboration, and responding to change. And it's clearly said that the item on the left might have value as well, but the item on the left are valued more. That's what uh, 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 Agile Manifesto focuses on. I'm not spending time here because I'm presuming that many of you have been knowing this well. Now, SAFE, since we are again talking about values and principle, the SAFE has their own 10 principles, which in my understanding are founded on Lean, Kanban, DevOps, Agile body of knowledge. So it's like things which are important for large solution business agility, and they provide directions for thinking. So the way I see this principle is that they influence your thinking. They tell you how to think, and the leadership has a role so that they promote and talk about these principles so people know how to think. So it's about taking economic view. So you do things which makes economic sense. You just don't do for sake of something. It's overall applying the system thinking, not looking at small component. Now, even though the SAFe 5.0 started talking about business agility explicitly, but since I have been teaching SAFe, I always saw, I think it since the day that the principal thing came up in SAFe, applying system thinking was always there, you know. So it's like that, and that's a business agility. So you don't look at a small portion of the system or a small portion of the component. Now, maybe we can say that till SAFe version 4, the system was more like a software delivery system and all, and now the definition of system is overall organization. So apply the overall organization level system thinking, which produces overall inspect and adapt capability for the organization. Assume variability preserve option. It's more about that things will go differently than you plan, so you should have something in your pocket to take care of those variances. And do things small, so build incremental with fast integrated learning cycle. It's more like do small things of a chunk of work and keep delivering it. Now, what is the definition of small? Your context will define. You cannot have universal definition of small batch size. Now, your milestones should be based on something which is tangible, working solutions and systems, rather than just something which is based on the status report. The principle 6 emphasizes on the Kanban integration in SAFe. It focuses on you should have visualization of what is happening, and you should limit your work in progress. So don't start too many things together, and keep the things in a small size so they keep passing through the queue and manage the queue. Don't let things get blocked, so the delivery is not happening. Apply cadence and synchronize with cross domain planning. I know. So if you're learning SAFe, you do find little heavy technical language. I would say the idea of principle 7 is that apply rhythm. So apply things in rhythm and synchronize with multiple other rhythms, so that you make the wait time predictable. You can tell that it's like that the train comes every 5 minutes. So it's a rhythm. You know that if you miss the particular current train, you can wait for 5 minutes and you will get the next train. So that's kind of thing. Apply cadence and synchronize with if you have a 2 3 connecting things, they happens together. That's the idea of principle 7. The principle 8, unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge worker, and it is all about the leadership competencies, and we spoke about them here, these principles here, because we believe the leaders are the one who creates the way to think in the organization. So idea here is that focus on intrinsic motivation of knowledge worker, because it's not about giving them extrinsic motivation. It's more about giving them purpose, autonomy, uh, 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 some sense of mastery, innovation, and belongingness with the purpose is something more important rather than focus on external way of motivating it. Focus on decentralized decision making. Yeah, that's like not everything should be centralized by one person, and organize around value. So this is something like say 5.0 added, though before like say 4 only had 9. So idea here is that in your second operating system, you need to organize people, organize in the whole system or components around value delivery. So you can see that, okay, this is how I am delivering this value to the customer, and the people and the systems who are involved are together. So I don't have to depend on someone in a different group for delivering my value. So I organize my systems, people, processes in such a way so that my customer centricity remains intact, and we deliver value to it. So this is like some level of guidance for organization design, especially for a network system. Now, this was the first competency which was focused on leadership. Now, the second competency which we are exploring now is on team and technical agility. So the idea here is that agile teams and team of agile teams, which is like the main focus area of SAFE, creates and support the business solution that delivers values to the enterprise and customer. So they should have an ability to learn in a digital age. They should be dependent, entirely dependable, and the idea here is they should be self-organized and they should keep customer centricity in mind. So if your team is agile and they are also technically competent to deliver, that will enable the business agility. So it's like this. Many times you might have faced this situation. You have a leaders having great ideas, great strategy, everything is good, and when it comes to an execution at a team level stuff, the thing starts falling apart. And you may say, okay, why are we not achieving business agility? Because you have the if there are multiple, I would say rigor or multiple circle which makes, or multiple, say, tire in your car makes you move, and if one of the tire is not a wheel, one of the wheel is not moving. So if you have multiple wheels in the car and one of the wheel is not moving, then you can't move forward. So this is a technical agility wheel, and which can derail your journey if it stops moving. So team and technical agility competency describe the critical skills which are lean agile principle and practices for high performing agile teams and teams of agile teams. It focuses on how do you organize teams, what kind of things they should focus on, like building quality, and how do you align and self and create a self-organizing team at a team of teams level. So it's like maybe a 10 agile teams working together, how they group together and deliver. I think so. These are the areas, or these are the, I would say, dimensions focused on team and technical agility. So a little bit more details about what is agile team. So there could be a scrum team and kanban team. So this is something which may not come explicitly many time in generic conversation. In safe word, we can also have teams which are not using scrum as a way of working, but they are using something and they are visualizing with the help of kanban ideas and kanban principles. So you should have a cross functional team which can pick up the item from a backlog and deliver it. So it's like end-to-end work is done by the whole team alone. So they are not dependent on someone else. They use a lot of Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming, and safe scaled practices to do their work. There could be a different ways of organizing teams. There could be a feature team where you can pick up a big feature and deliver end to end. There could be a component team where you don't deliver a feature, but you create a components which make other features successful. So you do a specialized work so that you can have some teams there. You may have enablement teams which supports the work of other teams. So you can also have an agile business teams which define, enables, and support business solutions. So this is again uh, I would say a new in Safe 5.0. I'm in between bringing these ideas. So the earlier interpretation of team was that software teams and they are doing things. But now, since it's a business agility space, you can have agile business teams which are defining, enabling, and supporting overall business solutions. So you can have those kind of teams as well, and you end up having those kind of things. Now, team of agile teams, now, many of you may know SAFe for this reason only, that there is something called program team or agile release train. So, like, since we are talking about SAFe and we don't talk about train, I think it's not a good idea. So, what is train? It's nothing like something which is visible. It's more like a virtual organization of multiple agile teams. So you may have, say, 7 to 9 members agile teams working together and doing things. But if you want to work with, say, 50 to 125 people together, so you group these different teams in a large, bigger group. So you can say you have team, and then there is a large group association, which is another, which we call train. So agile release train is a teams of agile teams. Again, you can't have 100 such teams belonging to one agile release train. Again, there will be a collaboration and communication issue. So the way SAFe looks at it is that you can have a small co-located or a cross-functional team at a 5 6 people level, or a 9 people level. Then you can have maybe a spread across the geography overall train, which has these small teams as a member, and such kind of a train organization can last for 50 to 125 people. If you have, say, 500 people, then you may need to create multiple such trains. So it's more like a virtual organization you are creating, and it's a teams of agile teams, and you organize around enterprise value stream, so they are focused towards value. So this is the whole idea of agile release train. So in a way, if I'm a member of a given train or a train team, so I am too much interdependent on them. So I plan together. So all the teams which are participating in that particular train are expected to synchronize continuously. So they plan together, they do continuous scrum meetings, and they collaborate frequently, so that at the end they together produces a solution. So the idea of SAFe is not limited to a small agile team producing the solution. It's all about small teams coming together and creating an integrated large solution. So that's the whole thing coming here. So teams of agile teams. Now, this is all about technical agility part, which we are discussing here. Now, next is product, why agile product delivery. So this is something, the next thing of a competency. So agile product delivery, I directly jump here. Again, it has a 3 dimensions, which is customer centricity, DevOps on cadence and release on demand, and DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline. So these are the three things. Now, so I would say the SAFe 5.0 explicitly started talking about customer centricity. Till SAFe 4, we were having DevOps develop on cadence and release on demand, and we were also having develop DevOps related ideas. But now we are adding here is that what they have added here is that in order to achieve business agility, you need to have more explicit focus on customer centricity. So agile product delivery is a customer-centric approach to define, build, and release continuous flow of valuable product and services to the customer and user. So how do you do it? First, you focus on customer, you discover what they need. It is rather than they tell you, you discover. And then you develop on cadence and release on demand. So your technical agility comes into the picture. You have a mechanism of developing and integrating work done by the different teams, and that is how you achieve agile product delivery. And then you also create a practices which makes value delivery faster, which is DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline, so that if something is ready, something is valuable ready, you don't have to wait for it. You can just push it at a very frequent frequency. So this is what is agile product delivery. Some more idea on customer centric and design thinking. So uh, in my experience, when we talk about solutioning team and all, uh, their thinking process many time is limited. In my conversation, I'm not making generic that everybody does that, but many development team thinking process is limited till what feature customer need, and their thought starts from there onwards. Now when we are talking about the agility in product space, we are looking for, or the aspiration is that we go beyond the feature and we start from what is a customer problem, and then look for the solution, and then probably we reach to a feature stage. So it is more about customer centric approach, which involves the tools and techniques of design thinking, which helps us in solving the right problem. Now, the technical agility can be looked at that, are we making things right? Yeah. But are we building it right? But the product agility is more about, are we building the right thing? Is it something really needed? So how do you know that? You only know when you relate to customer, and these design thinking body of knowledge gives you tools and techniques to do that. So customer centric centricity is a mindset, it's a way of thinking, it's not a practice. But design thinking gives you practices which helps you to be, or you which helps you to make your customer centricity more concrete and discussable. You can feel it and you can do something about it. So the ideas like, you create customer personas, you do a gamba walk, you go to the customer space, you live their life. There are cases where the people who are into customer problem understanding, they spend time with the customer, or they do the job what the customer is doing, so that they can feel what the customer might be feeling while doing all those things. So these things are not new. Any successful organization, uh, 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 I think for a long term success, you do need to know your customer well. And what I'm feeling, my feeling here is, personal feeling here is, that is more coming alive in say 5.0, that yes, it's a great idea, and maybe as a guidance everybody should explicitly do it. So you look at the customer, you empathize with the person, empathize with your customer persona. So you create a persona, empathy maps, you look at overall journey, and by doing all this you reach to a stage where you start getting, okay, these are the possible features which can help my customer solve their problem. So here is that you can say, you may see these diamonds. And what are these diamonds? So the diamond is more like, first you diverse thinking and then you converse thinking. So it's like, you don't start with a question, okay, what feature do you need to the customer? So if you ask that, then you are asking very specific one pointer question. But when you are think diverging, okay, what is your wish related to this particular product, or what problem, or even you don't ask the question, you just observe, what are the probable thing which this customer might be facing while using this particular application or this particular business process. So you are going with a lot of great open-ended question. So how can we improve your day? It's like that, yeah, rather than what do you need in a feature, how can we improve your day, so, or a work day. So those kind of things can create a divergent thinking. And once you get the ideas, then you consolidate them and move them towards a convergent space, so that you get features and epics. And so there are two dimensions. One diamond is focusing on problem space, and then once you have a problem space coming in, then you start doing a divergent thinking for solution space. Okay, how possibly, what are the different alternative paths we can take to solve this problem? We know customer needs this, what could be a multiple ways of solving it? And then again, you close it by converging it and coming up with a small workable executable items, so that the teams, the technical agility and teams can get it pushed continuous delivery. So the idea of customer centricity and design thinking is that we need to focus on viable, feasible, desirable solutions and features, and something which can be sustained. So this is whole thing about customer centricity and design thinking in case of it. So DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline, the idea here is that the way SAFe looks at DevOps is that it's a culture of shared responsibility. It's about automating. It's about leaning the flow, small batch size. It's about measuring the flow and having mechanism to recover. So this is something like the idea which they call it calmer approach for DevOps. And then continuous delivery pipeline is idea is that there will be always exploration of new needs. There is always an integration of done work, and we can keep doing continuous deployment. Now, how one should look at it, and this is nothing new in safe. It's been there all the time. So the idea here is you should not think that I will look at a customer and do a design thinking workshop, and after that I will do a development, and after that I will do an integration, and after that I will deploy. So these things are not serial in nature; they are continuous. So means a part of the customer problem is getting integrated, developed, and designed and deployed, and the part of the other problem is still under discussion. So there is always happening, the work is always happening in all the three dimensions towards exploring the need, developing and integrating, and deploying to the deployment space. So this is what you can say a continuous delivery pipeline. Now, agile release train, we spoke about it. So a little more specific detailed thing. So it's a virtual organization of 5 to 12 teams, maximum say 125-ish people. They are synchronized for common cadence and program increments. What does it mean? All these teams have a same iterations start and iteration end date. They have a common planning meetings where they plan together on a PI boundary. So PI boundary you can think of as a one-time box, which is usually 8 to 12 weeks. So um, at in PI boundaries, so you can say, just take an example of 10 weeks. If my PI boundary is 10 weeks, so each 10 weeks, these all 125 people or 50 to 125 people, whatever your size is, they come together and they plan together, and they have a common program level backlog which is at a higher level, and then they have a more workable actionable items which they maintain at a smaller team level. So they are aligned towards a common program backlog, and they plan that backlog on a PI boundaries, and that's why we call them train. So they are together and they are part of one train. Now, how do they do that? All this synchronize with PI planning. So this is something like uh, uh, there is a nice statement. There is no magic in safe except maybe for the PI planning. So this is something like which promotes that once in PI in say PI boundaries. Say I'm using a 10-week as a number. So once in a 10 weeks, everybody come together and they focus on what is their common mission. They get to know what is happening right now. They plan together. They jointly own what is getting planned for upcoming PI. So this is what they do at a release train level. Now, so what we have looked at, I think we have explored three. So we looked at our leadership, and then technical, and then product. Now, enterprise solution delivery. So the idea here is there is a possibility of like developing solutions with 500 people, 1,000 people, not just by one train, which is 100 group of roughly 100 people. So how do we do that, and do we have a capacity or a structures or agility at that level so that even large solution can be developed with a continuous inspection and adaptation for the changing business needs? So that capability or that competency in safeword is enterprise solution delivery. So enterprise solution delivery is more about applying lean system and solutioning engineering space for the large thing. So what is this large thing? In a simple way, you can think of how do I make multiple agile release train work together, and what kind of competencies make them aligned and ready to change for customer competitive advantage. And that's what is enterprise solution delivery competency. So it's like multiple train, which is having their own PIs and all coming together and delivering things. So the entire solution delivery competency describe how to apply lean agile principles and practices, specification, deployment, development of large solution. So it's like integrating the work products of different release trains having a quality management system which promotes large solution engineering, working with the overall solution intent, which is initially might be little initially variable, and as we start taking decisions, the part of the solution start making becoming fixed. So these are the competencies, and also importantly is having some mechanism to work with suppliers. So this all things falls under large solution competency. So aligning business and technology with the solution train. Now, what is a solution train? It's another virtual organization of collection of agile release trains. So if I point out here, so it's like you can see the overall envelope. This is like a big envelope where you can see another trains. So this is like that large solution is enveloping multiple agile release trains. So in a way, it's a second layer, or I think a group of multiple agile release trains. Now, what this group is meant for, and you may wonder, oh, why do we need to create this group? Now, in the absence of that, how do you ensure alignment in these different trains? How do you ensure that they are changing with the changing customer need, and they are delivering to the same customer with the same customer centricity? So the idea, and that's the competency, and you may have some roles and mechanics to achieve that. So there are things which helps you integrating these multiple trains and creating a overall solution train. So there are practices for enterprise solution delivery, which you can explore more in detail as you explore the scaled agile framework. At this stage, I think it will be a little too much to talk. Now, another one, lean portfolio management. Now, the idea here is you have been doing what have been told, but how do you know, or how do you ensure as an organizational leadership, m- m- I am looking forward and I am solving the right problem with a proactive approach? How, am I allocating sufficient budget to emerging technologies? And how do I ensure that whatever executions are happening, they are aligning towards a strategic objective? Now, in order to achieve that, the scaled agile framework talks about that if you want to achieve a business agility, you also need to have lean portfolio management competencies. So this competency primarily focuses on strategy and investment funding, lean governance, and agile portfolio operation. So these are the three things which it focuses on. Now, in a simple way, what we can understand is many times you see in an organization where the board and leadership is talking about the futuristic approaches, but when you see what they are doing and what kind of a money they have allocated, you see there is no correlationship. So in the board meeting they are saying that we are going to build something which will set up a new standard, but when you get deeper into it, this is, yeah, but you don't have any initiative identified and budget allocated for it. So the portfolio competency ensures that those kind of misalignment get identified and fixed. So how do we do that? So it starts from overall strategic theme of an organization, which is coming from the board and organization's perspective of looking at thing, and then connecting these things with the execution space by way of setting up the vision and roadmaps, identifying the right initiatives which are aligned with the overall strategic goals, allocating money accordingly, and having checkpoints which ensures that there is a correlationship between what you are thinking and what is happening in the execution level. So this is like a strategy and investment funding dimension part of it. The idea of allocating funding is also a little explored in SAFe, and they talk about that allocate money to a value stream rather than to a initiative. So it's like this, that if I see that that particular stream of work is going to produce more and more and more value, and that's a one value stream, I will invest more money to it. If I see that this particular way business line is now stagnating, I may allocate less money to it. And then I have a guardrail which are more frequently looking at things, how things are happening, which ensures that things will not go beyond the control. Now, the portfolio competency, and you can look into details as you go through trainings and learning material. It is against project level budgeting. It is against a particular initiative level budgeting. It is more about focusing on what outcome you want to achieve from this particular line of business or this particular value stream, and you focus there rather than focusing on a particular initiative. So there is an evaluation of each and every initiative by way of lightweight business case, but the funding and infra is done for an overall business, and then then you evaluate each and every a new idea which is coming to that particular line of business. Then organization agility. Now, the idea of organization agility is, how do we create lean thinking people and agile teams? So again, safe house of lean, safe principle, agile manifesto. It's very aligned with the leadership space. And how do we also achieve strategic agility and then have a lean business operations? So many look at an organization agility as a, like, when we achieve other competencies, then we create an environment for achieving organization agility. And it's more about whatever I'm doing currently. Yeah, am I doing it with efficiency, or there are delays and escalations and all those things? So my current product and services, this is like lean business operations, are achieving a less waste. They are continuously showing improvement in lead time, and we have good net promoter scores. Customers are happy about what we are doing. So that's a one way of looking at our operational part of business. Now, if I keep serving my current business or current customer for very long, there is a possibility I may not have new growth, or the current segment may get crowded after some time, and my customers start getting too many options, and their need may also start getting reduced over a period of time. So the strategic agility piece is that, as an organization, am I looking beyond my current space? How do I want to take an organization from one space to another step? How do I identify new customer segments, new business ideas? It remains a customer centricity, but a new customer centricity, a different customer which may not be catered before. So a way of doing these things or looking at that particular competency falls under organizational agility. So organizational agility competency describe how lean thinking people and agile team optimize their business processes, evolve their strategy with a clear and decisive new commitment, and quickly adapt the organization as needed to capitalize on new opportunities. So that's an organizational agility. Now, idea here is, uh, as I spoke about strategic agility, continuously sensing market, make strategic changes as needed, organize and reorganize around value as the new value stream starts emerging. So keep experimenting in a new space. So have some entrepreneurial and startup culture in the organization. And whenever you see the market trend and market is changing, you have a capacity to implement changes quickly. And you ignore the sunk cost. Now, what does it mean? Anytime we get attached to that, okay, I have already invested here, and I should make it work. Now, the idea of overall organizational agility or a strategic agility is that I need to focus on how much more will go before I can get result. And this more, can I put this more somewhere else to get more money? So rather than keep thinking about, I have already invested this much, I need to focus on how much incremental investment I need to make and what returns I'm going to get out of it. So if I've done a mistake once, I should not continue doing that mistake again and again. So that's the idea of strategic agility. Then creating a continuous learning culture. So the idea of a continuous learning culture is, it's a learning organization. See, in today's world, whatever one organization is doing, whatever product, services you are providing, it can be easily replicated. some other company will emerge and says, okay, we will also sell the same thing, we will do the same thing, and let's get the business started. Now, but the DNA of an organization which is focusing on the values and customer centricity and keep evolving things is not easily copyable. So for something like this, somebody may copy you what you were doing 6 months ago, because they will also take 6 months to do it. But it's very, very difficult for them to copy what you are learning right now, which will come after 6 months. So the continuous learning culture, continuous innovation culture, continuous relentless improvement always help you, or I would say not to use a word always, but helps you to remain ahead of someone who is copying what you are doing. Yeah, in a simple way. Or if you just don't worry about the competition or somebody who is copying your thing, it is also helps you in evolving as your market is evolving, as the technology is evolving, as your whole environment is moving from one place to another place. So, so the continuous learning culture is more about learning at all level. It's at a team level, at an individual level, at overall system thinking level, and having a culture of improving things relentlessly, and also doing some breakthrough things. Keep experimenting. Things may fail, but you need to find something new to make the next big thing, else you will get stuck in what you are doing, and then there will be no market after some time. So continuous learning culture competency describes a set of values and practices that encourages individuals enterprise as a whole to continuously increase their knowledge, competency, performance, and innovation. In my personal opinion, I believe that success of the organization is in today's world is too much dependent on the continuous learning culture at all level. It's not only about a leader. Leader has a big role to play, but at the other levels as well. So it's a learning organization, personal mastery, system thinking, mental models, team learning. So a lot of ideas. So again, we are heading towards the end. So around management and leadership, it is not about commitment. It's all about that continuously owning that, okay, we need to own the overall system responsibility. It's not enough that management commit themselves to quality and productivity. They must know what it is and they must do. So it's more about owning the things rather than just hoping that things will happen on their own. Now, how do you go with the SAFe? The SAFe has a body of knowledge which talks about SAFe implementation roadmap. So this is a nice thing which you can explore. And the idea here is that the business agility framework also gives you an assessment framework, which they call it measure and grow assessment, which primarily looks at these 7 competencies and 3 dimensions. So 7 multiplied by 321 dimensions comes in total. And there are questionnaires, and you can have a guided evaluation to know how what is your current state, and what how you want to reach to a to be state, and what kind of actions you should take to achieve the business agility. So now for more, you can visit scaleagileframework.com. They have enough articles, guidance, presentations, videos which can help you in learning and knowing more and more about SAFe. So thank you. I know it was a little wrong presentation. And from if you have a more need related to learning and exploring SAFe as far as training and formal education processes are concerned, you can definitely reach us. You can visit our website, iZenBridge.com, or drop an email at sales@izenbridge.com. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching.